The Antidote.
The Antidote.
The Antidote.
The Antidote.
The Antidote.
The Antidote.
Antidote.
The Antidote.
Y estás escuchando The Antidote.
The Antidote.
The Antidote.
The Antidote.
You're listening to The Antidote with Dave Hawkins.
With Christian music that doesn't suck.
I think I'm great, but I know I'm the worst. Spontaneous moment, but it comes off rehearsed. Pleased to meet you without a single goodbye. The cumbersome moments leave my soul terrified. The truth sets you free, but I was never in jail. Fell off the ledge, but I held on the rail. Cumbersome moments leave my soul terrified. Had no choice, but I'm glad that I complied. There I tried in that moment, Sure, I cried in that moment, Where's my pride in that moment? Where's my pride in that moment? If I hurt myself, 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 if I hurt myself. The apology of apostasy that cries from my soul. The parts disassembled that don't become whole. A kindness for strangers but never myself. A cry for more life but a hatred of health. There I tried in that moment, Sure, I cried in that moment, Where's my pride in that moment, Where's my pride in that moment, If I hurt myself, 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 if I hurt myself. The blessings of enemies and the curse of my friends. Blinded by the light and I see in the dim. A cry for more life and it's a hatred of health. And I'd really be something if I'd allow myself. If I hurt myself, I hurt someone. 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 If I hurt myself, if I hurt myself, yeah.
The Antidote returns with the next installment of our series on the artist found at this year's Audiofeed Music Festival. That artist came as a surprise to me. After leaving one of the larger venues at the festival, I caught a set from The Giant and the Tailor that they played at an impromptu stage, and man, it got my attention. That was their song, Hurt Someone. Last week, I gave an analogy of how music can be compared to eggs. Tonight's show is over hard with music that has a louder style. Like this song from my camping neighbor and the opener at the festival, and also a band with a brand new full-length. The Jericho Harlot with Salt.
Black suit, black
of regrets running from your past. They love the way you move. Yeah, that's how they really got a hold on you. Yes, they do. Black suit, black night, black Cadillac. All the things in this world that'll make your heart turn black. They love the way you move. Yeah, that's how they really got a hold on you. You know where you can find me. You will find me underneath. All the things you think you need. The sweat from my brow turns to blood now. They don't see the weight of the world on me. The weight of the world on me. The sweat from my brow turns to blood now. They don't see the weight of the world on me. Black suit, black night, black Cadillac. All the things in this world that'll make your heart turn black. They love the way you move. Yeah, that's how they really got a hold on you. You know where you can find me. You will find me underneath. All the things you think you need. The sweat from my brow turns to blood.
Yo, this is Sean Michelle, and you're checking out The Antidote.
Sean Michelle is known for his Delta blues-inspired rock, but he brought out something new with the Roots gospel track, Give an Account. And that comes from his just-released album, You Don't Know What the Lord Has Done for Me. There are also a lot of punk bands at Audiofeed. Coming up is the festival Shout with Pounding Waves, but first the harsher punk on the Plague by Anti-World System.
Stays there
Yep, even ska could be heard at Audiofeed. Must Build Jacuzzi warned us about listening to old rock bands on The Eagles Killed Becky. I was happy to be able to meet with one of my favorite bands, the Unusual White Collar Sideshow. Here's our talk. The friendliest couple in music, TD and Veronica Benton of White Collar Sideshow, are here with the Antidote. Good to meet you guys again.
Yeah, man, it's good to see you too, Dave.
It's probably been 2 years since we last spoke. You guys were living the nomadic life, out in the RV, on the road, quote-unquote, with no responsibilities. I think there's been a fair bit changing probably over the last 2 years.
I mean, we're definitely still living gypsy life. We're still in our RV and still trucking across. Well, we've been across the world though over the last few years. We've hit 18 countries now, and landed in 46 states. We've not necessarily played them all, but we've definitely passed through. So we've still just been trucking along, living our gypsy life, and we live in our RV, but we're looking to downsize into a smaller RV, and it's because we keep going overseas and living out of a backpack for 3 months at a time. And if I can live out of a backpack, I don't need this huge RV full of stuff. So we need to downsize and get rid of more things.
Well, you have to say then, how big is the RV?
It's a 32-foot toter home, which is basically like the biggest U-Haul truck that you see. It's about like that, but with living quarters on the inside. So it sleeps 10. So we're looking at downsizing to maybe like an oversized van or something.
And the reason for having such a long rig is just because when TD's acting up, you can just shove them to the very far end.
Absolutely. That and the fact that we used to have a married couple living with us, T's son. We had a couple dogs. So it was a zoo. Yeah, Levi the poet and his wife Brandy used to live with us. And so we needed a lot of space back then, but we're looking at downsizing. We feel like empty nesters, which is nice.
I also think, like with our life, this year we've been a band for 11 years, which is longer than we've done anything in our life as a married couple, and we've been living on the road longer than we ever had a house as a married couple, which is the change of the tide, I guess, of living this life versus how we used to live. But in a weird way, it almost feels like there's more responsibility with what we do than there ever was when we had, I guess, a normal American dream life. And mostly because it all depends on how hard we work or how fast we want to get something done or taken care of. And also, we're a nonprofit band, so we've never charged for our shows. So to actually have people believe in what you do and go out and find people to donate to you as a mission or a missionary is challenging.
Yeah.
Challenging? That almost sounds impossible, but you do get that kind of support.
Yeah, we do. It's all through the Lord. I was convicted strongly years ago, and I felt like we didn't need to sign contracts and ask for guarantees. And I kind of had this deal with the Lord that as long as you continue to provide, we will continue to do this. And He has provided throughout. We did become actually a nonprofit in Arkansas. And so we do operate as a nonprofit now, but we still don't sign contracts, and we still don't ask for guarantees, and we still just truck right along. And we're July 16th will be 11 years.
So you're living, definitely an unusual lifestyle. You've got an unusual business sense, and you've also got really unusual music. You got to describe what it's all about.
When we first started, a lot of our performance was really just based on our personal life, struggling with pornography addiction, Veronica's struggling with bulimia, and just things that were big elephants in the room, and not just in a Christian world, but in any room,
any setting,
any general place. And so a lot of our performance was a theatrical show. We had film in the background. Of course, I'm a drummer, Phil's a drummer, and Veronica plays bass. So bass and drums, the meat and potatoes of music, where we always say everything else is salt and pepper, which makes it tasty. But so it has evolved from our first performance to when we do the witch hunt, which our performance was based on the 7 deadly sins and many different struggles versus just one testimony of our life. Really just trying to broaden the horizons of maybe people seeing themselves in different points of view, rather than just, here's this addiction, if you don't struggle with this, our music has no meaning to you.
We also wear masks in the show. T doesn't, but Philip and I do. And Philip is the pig, which causes a lot of questions and controversy. But we say kill the pig because we all feel like everyone has that pig in their life, and everyone wears this pig mask. And it's the guy that Paul talks about. It's why do I do the things I don't want to do, and why don't I do the things that I do want to do? And so it's almost a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And so not only are we two drummers and a bass, we're wearing masks, and we have this video, this multimedia experience. So yeah, it definitely is a little different, but it's normal for us.
I think a lot of my influence from doing this performance too is White Zombie, Nine Inch Nails, Rob Zombie. I'm a big horror film fan.
And he's big into concept albums.
I love concept albums. I also like old westerns, so I like, Twilight Zone. There's so many things that influence what you do, and what we try to portray in our film and in our music too is for the audience to be challenged with thinking or inspiring people to dream big, even though you only might have $10 in your back pocket. What's it look like to become the change that you want to see rather than waiting for some movement? And we always try to pose a question like, whatever happened to integrity or wisdom or character? Honesty. And why do we cannibalize each other on social media that has become such a big part of everyone's life? Whatever happened to love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, self-control, which are things that I struggle with all the time, And so I think that's where we come from an artistic perspective.
And I thought every artist was perfection personified. It's nice to actually get an honest saying, you know what, I have faults, I have issues that I've got to deal with. And you bring that all up through your music. Yeah, the witch hunt being basically on the 7 deadly sins. But it's graphic. When people have asked me to talk about your music, and I brought this line from VeggieTales, and I think it's Larry, where he says, it's a multimedia extravaganza.
I love it.
This is T.
And this is Veronica, the faceless woman from White Collar Sideshow. And you're listening to The Antidote.
Motivation.
overseas last year, weren't you?
Last year we were in South America. The year before that we were in Europe, and we touched Asia and South America. And so 2 years ago we were out of the U.S. for about 9 months of the 12. It was pretty crazy. It was a little chaotic, but it was awesome.
And how did you spend your time there? What was the purpose?
Playing shows, just doing white collar sideshow. The response is particularly down in South America is where we were most recently, which was last year. We toured through Brazil and then in Chile, and we just love both of those countries. We love the passion, we love the people. It is just an amazing and incredible experience to be able to go down there, and they love the response of our show is huge. They get it, and they really have embraced us.
I think with South America too, I grew up a Sepultura fan, and of course they're a gigantic Brazilian band, Soulfly. I feel like our style of music is something that's different there, but because of the percussion, because of the different instruments, we're able to relate, I think, to a lot of their metal scene that's still popular, which, you know, it feels like rock and roll is dead right now, but it's just in hibernation. It's going to come back around. But also with our film, even though we have translators that come and hang out with us, the film is something, when we first started, I thought I shot myself in the foot, because it takes twice as long, 3 times as long to put a film and music together. The money factor is just exceptionally huge, because you got to have your budgets. I mean, my Lord, it just costs a lot of money to do film and music. But being able to go down there and people see themselves in your film, you don't have to say a word. It has become
it's a
something,
universal language.
Yeah, just an artistic universal language where people will come up to us through a translator after the show and be like, man, I get it. I'm that guy in the film. And I can just say, we're all the guys in the film. Like, we're all trying to figure out who we are, what's our identity, how do we grow, what are the things that we need to learn from our mistakes, and how do we use our stories to connect with other people, whether that's through art, through our job, whatever it is that we are passionate about in our life.
Another funny thing about Chile, though, more than any other place that we've been, they love the pig. They, I guess, had this cartoon character back in the day called Chancho Man, which is Pig Man. And so every time after we would play a song, they would all chant, Chancho Man, Chancho Man, Chancho. They loved Philip. They just loved
Where
him.
in the U.S. you don't get the love for the pig.
He scares most people, and people will run out crying oftentimes. But no, they absolutely loved Chancho Man.
Well, we got to get back into your creative process. You were talking about how much time commitment it comes into doing both film and the music. Well, really, and it's stage theater.
Yeah.
You're starting it all over again. You're back at it.
We are. And we didn't know if it was going to happen. Like I said, I told the Lord, as long as you continue to provide, we will continue to do it. And we didn't have the finances really to even begin this process. And come April, since we are a nonprofit in Arkansas, I noticed that there was this nonprofit fundraiser. And so 950 nonprofits in Arkansas had this one-day, 12-hour fundraiser. And I was like, well, we'll sign up, give it a whirl, who knows? And we ended up raising over $12,000 in 12 hours.
That's insane.
Yes.
That's fabulous.
So here comes the money. And so we're like, well,
I guess we're on the road again.
I guess we're doing it. So here we go. So once that money was secured, we started the filming process all over again. And our video guy, who has been with us since he was like 17, said yes. And this one's definitely different. It's exciting and new and fun. But we got about 4 days under our belt, probably 8 to 10 more days to go for filming. And then, of course, we got to get in the studio and record everything. We have 11 songs for the new album that he's already written.
I'm covering a Doors song on the new album, too.
Yeah.
I'm so stoked.
Well, you're not going to tell us which one.
Oh, Break On Through.
There you go.
Come on.
He'll tell you.
I'm ready. Like, probably the Doors is probably my all-time favorite band. For whatever reason, and I've read so many Doors biographies, but they were kind of one of the first bands to kind of theatrics and for the 60s and not just do music but poetry, art, all these different aspects. And for whatever reason, that band has just, even my son is addicted to the Doors, probably because of me. But there's a lot of changes, I think, coming up with the new album. Phil, I'm going to go ahead and make this announcement because we're going to announce it today.
Breaking it here.
Phil the pig has been with us since he was 17 years old. He is 32 years old now. And before we do every album, we sit down with Phil and we say, hey, you know, what's it look like to do a few more years with us? Are you all in? Have you ever wanted to do anything else other than be on the road? Have you wanted to pursue a woman? Have you wanted to
not wanted to be a pig?
Absolutely.
Maybe you could go with your resume, drum for a band who could actually afford to pay you. And Phil is going to finish out this year with the Witch Hunt performances, and then he is going to pursue a different life.
Life outside of white collar.
Outside of white collar, which is
so we're officially
tremendous.
Yeah. So anybody that comes to the show tonight, it's going to be probably their last time to see us as a three-piece.
Yeah. And we are going to go on as a duo. And a lot of the vision of the next album is really Veronica and I kind of it's always kind of been me with this idea. We're kind of co-writing, co-putting everything together, and we're super excited about
Another
the
reason
new
we're
journey.
downsizing.
Yeah, so it's a lot of change. It feels like we're kind of losing an arm, but as you move forward, it's how do you do it without the arm?
Selfish little
as a tribute to Phil, the pig in White Collar Sideshow. That was Try the Swine. Up next is the last of my chat with TD and Veronica Benton.
And I'm ready to see how we pull it off on the next one too. We have so many ideas of not just making it a big show or a big production, but how do you do something excellently with the amount of money that you have, or however that looks? How do you put something on? Because I think excellence is what gives you a platform to be able to say the things that you want, or people will actually listen. And I think a lot of our life through all of this has been something that maybe we would set up at a bar or a club or a festival or however that looks, and people have never seen this before. They may or may not like the music, they may or may not like the performance, they might be scared of the pig, but like, I'm standing here just to see what this person might say. And I feel like there's another opportunity for us on the next one. It's called Valley of the Skull, is the next album. And really, we want to base the whole performance off the word identity. Like, who are you when the titles are stripped away? Who are we when you're not at a festival, when maybe you're not playing music anymore? Has our identity just been this band? Or is our identity character? Is it fruit of the Spirit? What do people remember you by that they will remember for decades? Or how have you built into someone in a younger generation where maybe you've mentored them in a way that it's not just about music or art, it's about growth? You know, who are you going to be when you're 42 years old? You know,
it's true. I've often heard it said that by 21, you've sort of defined your life and this is the way that you're going to be. But I don't know that that's really true. I think people's identities are flexible and they change over the decades.
Oh, man, I totally agree.
When T turned 40, our pastor dropped some wisdom on him. He's like, life really starts at 40 because you get in your 20s and you think like, this is who I am. I've got this figured out. You're developing all of these like principles and ideas of what you believe. And then you get in your 30s and you're like, okay, now I need to undo everything I just did in my 20s because I was so wrong. So you spend your 30s trying to get back to zero. And then life begins at 40. So here we are at 40, starting life.
Still trying to figure out how we're going to survive. And of course, it's the good Lord. All my life of being a believer, I believe in God so much more now than I ever have. First of all, because of relationships and how the Lord brings like-hearted people together, the crazy brave and the people who are doing outside-the-box courageous things. But not only that, living on the road and not charging, living to survive.
Yeah, His provision.
His provision, and really going, Lord, feed us, help us figure these things out, show us direction. Slap me across the face with a road sign so I'm not missing the direction I'm supposed to be going or the turn I'm supposed to make. There are so many more things as I'm getting older that I used to care about maybe back in the past that mean nothing compared to where you are as an older person. And maybe it's more of the religious aspect where I feel like we really are hippies. Just going out, trying to figure out how to focus on Him, heart, mind, soul, and strength. But also, what does it really mean to love and serve other people? And art and music is just a good excuse to do those things. And how well you do those things actually gives you more opportunity to do that. Easier said than done. I mean, Dave, once you have it figured out, please let us know so we can have the rules in the textbook of this.
I don't think that's ever going to happen. T, Veronica, White Collar Sideshow. Guys, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Thank you so much for making time for us.
Thank you for your time, and thank you for continuing to be passionate about what you love to do. We know how much work goes into it, how hard it is, how many hours of the day that it takes to do your line of work. Just because we're all artists, I see what you're doing as art as well, and it never ends. And I appreciate you, and I'm thankful for you doing that and taking the time out to spend with us.
And that admiration goes back to you too, with your tenacity, endurance, and faith in this. Thanks again.
Awesome.
You got it, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You could hear the music of Ravenhill playing in the background of the Antidote's conversation with White Collar Sideshow. Now you get it clear and loud. One of the best songs in rock, Ravenhill's Blood on the Church Floor.
Just a boy and his mama, refugees in a land that's gone astray. on the ground. They praise his name where it's illegal to pray. In walks a man, and his army broke through the door with death on his hand. He fixed his aim, but Mama stayed, and now she's gone. Oh Lord, she's gone. Now there's blood on the church floor. I hear that roar of a Sunday crowd. Now there's blood on that church floor, 'cause we sing Hallelujah, Hallelujah. We sing Hallelujah. We sing Hallelujah, Hallelujah. We sing Hallelujah. She hit the ground and it made a sound that shook the faith of this boy. Just take a breath, son, just settle down, 'cause the road is gonna lead her home. I cried to God and I questioned why I was born to watch my mama die. Your heart will heal soon. You'll be a man, and you can share her story with the world. Whoa, 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 now there's blood on the church floor. I hear that roar, oh, that Sunday crowd. And now there's blood on that church floor. Sing it with me, boys, 'cause we sing Hallelujah, Hallelujah. We sing Hallelujah. We sing Hallelujah, Hallelujah. We sing Hallelujah. Sing from the death, that spirit comforts me as they sing march on. Their voices ring of martyrs pass through the choir eternal. Now there's blood on the church floor. I hear the roar of a Sunday crowd. Now there's blood on that church floor, 'cause we sing. I won't thirst no more, I won't hunger, I'll live on just like my mother, oh Lord. Oh Lord. Oh Lord. No, no, no. I won't thirst no more, I won't hunger, I'll live on just like those martyrs, oh Lord. Oh Lord.
Hello, this is Jeremiah.
And this is Aaron from My Epic, and you're hanging out with Dave at the Antidote.
Adrift the moments and people you held dear. Every loss, every lapse, another death, curse and mourn. A dozen funerals a day. Honey, you need some rest. Trust me, whatever's next, just don't surrender yet. If all our promises escape you in the night, don't fret, I'll hold up both our ends. Holding your hand while you're losing your head, and the only thing worse than the things you forget is the constant reminder that I could be next. If man is nothing but a pile of sand, just a little bit of consciousness, we can't even trust our memories. How can we have faith in anything but the faith that I lost in myself? Found a way to believe someone else. I make no promises, but I've got some prayers left. And whatever happens, I won't live in fear of the end. Down on my knees as you're falling apart, trusting the one who can go where you are. He'll take your hand and lead you from the dark. Darling, we forget, he can hold both of our hands. He can hold both of our. Darling, if we forget, he can hold both our hands.
A longtime Audiofeed favorite, My Epic, gave us Wives' Tale. The Antidote goes harder and louder on the next episode in our series on the music of Audiofeed. And if metal and hardcore is your thing, you're going to love this. If you happen to miss the first installment of the series, you can get it at theantidoteradio.com. And if you don't want to miss any episodes of The Antidote, try subscribing to it on iTunes. I've got one final song coming. Every year, one particular band closes the Audiofeed Festival, and they'll finish up our night. Here's Odd Boat from Flatfoot 56, and I'll see you next time.
Farewell the shallow times. There's a chance that we can make it. A part of a different